Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become present. If you would find a nice, comfortable seated position on a block or a pillow, anything that allows the back of your spine and the back of your neck to sit nice and long and tall, opening up your chest, excuse me, opening up your diaphragm and opening up your heart. Let's gently close our eyes and soften our thoughts. Soften our eyes. Soften our shoulders. Soften our heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is the fourth Yama of Patanjali's 8 limbs of yoga. The Yamas being the first limb. Brahmacharya's original meaning was celibacy, but in recent times it has been interpreted as non-excess. And now it's even distilled further to mean proper use of energy. They all have a common thread of finding the balance between overdoing and underdoing, understanding what is enough. As little as 150 years ago, probably even more recent than that, people's energy was regulated by daytime and nighttime and by the rhythm of seasons. That helped them to balance between rest and activity. We live in a much different world now. We were just talking about that, where it's easy to overdo. Just take an example of back in the day when you wanted to feed yourself 150 years ago. You had to go out to the garden in the summer, put up canning so that you have vegetables and other items during the winter. You'd have to go to the barnyard and slaughter your protein and put that up for the winter, and then cook on a wood burning stove typically, so you have to feed that. And so every bite you took was precious. I mean, it just took a lot of effort. So you probably had a little bit because you had to make that last all winter long. Versus nowadays, we go into a grocery store, we take our cart and we're just like in and out in a half an hour, cart full, throw it in the oven, throw it in the microwave. And it's just so plentiful. And abundance is a good thing, but you have to kind of moderate what your energies are going to. So Brahmacharya asks us to use our energy wisely. So we are now needing to kind of balance ourselves between work and play and being active and resting. So for a pranayama this morning, I thought the equal length breath, which is called Vritti, would be a good one to do. It has a balancing effect, and it's what it is essentially is same as sama. So it's equal length breath of inhales and exhales. And a form of Vritti is box breath, where you inhale, hold, exhale, and hold, all for the same counts. So it creates this box, and that's an extremely calming type of pranayama. So for today, we're just going to do the Vritti, inhale, equal length, exhale, equal length. And we'll do that once we get on the mat. And before that, let's do a short meditation. Today, the mudra would be the Hakini mudra, and it's for balancing as well, balancing the body and the mind. And to do the Hakini mudra is you bring your fingers together, and you often, and you bring it kind of to the chest, and you often see people do that when they're in a very pensive mood. They're kind of having the fingertips open, and they're kind of pondering. And it's a great one. It actually activates both sides of the hemispheres, or both sides of the brain, both hemispheres of the brain. So again, it's a good balancing one. So we've done actually a few with our fingers touching. We did, this one was an abundance one, and then this one was giving what the world offers you. And now today we're going to ponder that all. So we'll do that once I get on that. And then if you prefer, or in addition, you could use the affirmation of, I will use my energy wisely. I will use my energy wisely. So let's just take a moment and do a meditation. Alrighty, and I have a correction. So I said this was about abundance. This is sending love out into the world. And this is abundance, having the bowl full of abundance. So, correction. Alrighty, let us begin. I have my block right here. Will come in handy for a few things that we're going to do today. So let us do our Vritti. I love Vritti. It's what I use to help me get to sleep at night. I've had various combinations over the years. Right now I'm doing a inhale, one, a very slow, 1, 2, and then an exhale, very slow, 3, 4. So inhale, 1, 2, exhale, 3, 4. That puts me to sleep. So I will continue it or I'll fall asleep. But I used to do 6, and I find my head was racing a little bit too much to try to keep up with this count of 6. So adjustments along the way help. So again, we'll bring our fingertips to the mat, and we'll try 6 for this. So inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll do that a few more times. The one after this, I'll stop counting. We'll just kind of get that feel of how long that takes. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we'll do the last one. I won't count. Maybe you can count yourself. Inhale up. And then exhale down. And then inhale open. And then close. Inhale up. And exhale down. My exhale's a little longer. Alrighty, and then we'll do some sun twists without the sun today. We'll call them rain twists. So inhale, bringing your arms up overhead, and then we'll twist to the side, left side, right hand goes on the knee, left hand goes behind your hips, and then we'll sweep back up and twist over to the other side. Left hand comes down on the right knee, right hand behind the hips, and then sweep back up again, and twist over back to the other side. Hand comes down, left hand behind the hips. And then we're going to keep the right hand where it is on the left kneecap and twist your torso back to the center, bringing your left hand over to the right kneecap. Yes, if you remember, this is pretzel day with the eagle poses. So eagle arms, we'll bring both hands off the knees, bring the backs of the hands together. And if you are able and want to, you can bring the palms together and gently lift your elbows as high up that is comfortable for you. So eagle hands. And then we can release. And we'll bring our fingertips back to the mat and sweep up and twist to the opposite side to start with. I'm going with the left hand on the right knee, right hand behind my hips. And sweeping back up, twisting over to the other side. Right hand comes down on the knee, left fingertips behind the hips. And then sweeping back up again. Left hand comes down on the right knee, right hand comes behind. And then keeping the left hand on the right knee, we're going to turn our torso to the front, bringing the right hand to the left knee, and we'll do eagle arms the other way. So you had your right arm underneath before, now it's above. So backs of your hands can come together, or if you are able, the palms of your hands can be touching. And then just gently lift your elbows up, perhaps to shoulder height. Alrighty, and then you can release that. And we're going to roll down on the mat. You can have your knees bent, knees straight, or use express method. I'm going to keep my knees bent today. Rolling down very slowly, engaging the vertebra with the mat, slowly but surely. And then bring the knees to the chest, give them a nice hug. Maybe rock back and forth, just kind of wake up our spine. And we'll lower our feet to the mat and slide them all the way down. So we're in reclined mountain pose. And sliding the right foot up the inner part of the left leg to create a figure 4. And then we'll take that right ankle and place it on top of the left leg, right up above the knee. Again, having that figure 4 shape. And slide the left foot up and have it placed on the mat. This is another variation of reclined pigeon. And then bringing your left foot up to the air, pointing both toes up to the sky, guiding the right knee toward the right side of the mat. And let's not interlace our hands today, just kind of placing them by your side, palms down for support. Maybe just create a little bit of tension by pulling the left leg toward you and pushing the right foot toward the other way. So just kind of creating a little resistance there. Feeling that. And then we're going to take the right leg and cross it over the left as if you're sitting in a chair and having your legs crossed. And this would be the beginning of eagle legs. And this is again, any part of the pose is doing the pose. So eagle legs can be just like this, or the full expression is by wrapping one foot around the back of the calf of the other leg. So you're basically in a pretzel pose. We'll just see how that feels for a moment. Breathe into that. Okay, and then let's just release that. Bring the knees back to the chest. Again, give a nice hug. Rock back and forth. And then we'll slide our feet down to the bottom of the mat. Going back to recline mountain pose. And then take the left foot, sliding it up on the inner part of the right leg, creating that figure 4. And taking the left ankle, placing it on top of the right leg, just above the knee. Again, nice figure 4. The old-fashioned 4. And then sliding your right foot up so that it comes onto the mat, guiding that left knee toward the left side of the mat. And then lifting the right leg up, pointing both toes to the sky, having your hands beside you with palms facing down just to support yourself. And then we're going to pull the right leg toward us and push the left foot the opposite direction, creating that resistance. Okay, and then we'll slide that left leg over, or cross it over rather, as if you're sitting in a chair with your legs crossed. And this is one form of eagle legs. Or if you're able, you can wrap your left toes around the back of your right calf. Come into pretzel version of eagle legs. My word, of course. I used to look at yoga poses. I have this one app that goes through a lot of the different yoga poses. The ones that are advanced, I call all pretzel poses because they're just like, come on. Is your body supposed to do that? But it's definitely something to aspire towards. Alrighty, and then release. Bring your knees back, your chest, give them a nice hug again. We rock back and forth just a little bit more. Reawakening everything from your overnight snooze. Alrighty, and then we'll come up to tabletop. So you can either send your legs to the side, come up to tabletop, or if you'd like, you can roll up to tabletop and or to a seated position and then cross over. Back up to tabletop. Okie dokie. So we'll do a few head turns. And you can do those in a seated position if you like. We're just going to take our nose and turn it to the right. And then back to center. And then turn it to the left. Back to center. Back. Slowly back to the right again. Seems to be fine. And then back to center and to the left. I'm finding a little bit of tension there that I usually don't have. Back to center, to the right. And then back to center, to the left. Doing a lot of yard work this week, so I guess that might be it. And then back to center, to the right one more time. And then back to center and to the left one more time. And back to center. And then we'll go into cat-cows. So stretching out that spine, exhaling, dropping the head down, dropping the tail down, really rolling those spine vertebrae up toward the sky. And then lifting the head and tailbone up, sending the gaze straight ahead into cow. And then exhale again, rounding the back, dropping the head and tailbone down. And inhaling, lifting the head and tailbone up. I'll just continue to do this. Go really slow and in rhythm to your breath. See if you can do the Vritti, equal length for inhales, equal length for exhales. And we'll just continue a little bit more. Just really feeling the benefit of this movement. All right, come back to tabletop. And the next one we're going to do is in a tabletop. So if you want to just kind of loosen up your wrists, and I guess my hands from doing yard work, my all up in here and here are feeling it. So feel free to do that anytime you want. Your wrists are getting a little bit tight, or as another yogi said, using your fists is a good to take the strain off your wrists. So we're going to extend the right foot back. Actually, before I do that, have your block ready because we're going to extend the right foot back, and then we'll cross that right foot over the left leg and send it to the left side of the mat, just outside of the border of the mat. So it's on the floor or on the rug. And then we'll slowly turn our head to look at our foot, back foot. I call this the rear view mirror pose. There's probably a Sanskrit name for it, but maybe not. All right, and then we'll bring that leg not back to where it was, but we're going to take that knee and come up on the outer side of the right knee so that your both feet look like flippers on the edge or just outside of the mat. And our legs are kind of in an M shape here. And we're going to sit on the block. Or if you're able to, you can bring yourself down to the mat. And I think in my practice, I was really feeling that super tension. I'm like, just take that sweet spot today. Probably go a little lower than this. Maybe some of you need to go a little higher than this. So we're in actually cow face legs right now. So we did eagle legs, now we're doing cow face legs. And there is an upper body movement to cow face pose, which if you like, you can try. You take your right arm, send it up to the sky, and then kind of pat yourself on the back. And then bring your left arm behind you and try to touch the fingertips. So this is cow face pose. All right, we can release that, go back to tabletop. And I'm gonna untwirl my legs here. We'll keep the block there because we're just gonna do it on the same pose on the other side. So again, either with your wrists or on your fists, send your left leg back. And then send your left leg outside of the mat, crossing over the right leg. And then gently send your gaze back to your left foot. And then we're going to bring that knee up beside the other knee on the outer edge. So my feet look like little flippers that are hanging outside of the mat. Then I'm going to set my block down. Walk my hands back and sit on the block for cow-faced legs. And then the upper portion of that would be sending the left arm up to the sky, and then sending the hand down, patting yourself on the back, and then sending the other hand up and trying to touch the fingers. In my case, it's definitely a trying to. There's quite a bit of a gap between both hands on this side, whereas I can actually touch my fingers on the other side. So our bodies are different from side to side. Our bodies are different from person to person. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Sometimes it does for the pose, but. And then we'll release. And we'll set the block aside. Tangle ourselves, coming back to tabletop. Tucking our toes under, we're going to walk our hands back, coming onto the balls of our feet, pushing down, coming up into mountain pose. We'll point our toes to the straight edge of the mat and lift the toes up off the mat, spreading them apart as far as you can, and then bringing them down into the mat, lifting our heels off the mat, and then bringing them down, and really feeling that grounding connection. And we'll go through mountain pose, which are also the essentials of good posture. I ran across something this week. I don't know if anybody knows about this Alexander posture thing that's been around for over 100 years. Never heard of it before. And I kind of thought it was a Brit thing because I was reading a book that the author is British, but evidently it's worldwide. So I'm going to look into that a little bit more. But it gives you cues on how to have good posture. So that will be coming up in a future class. So anyway, back to mountain pose and the essentials of good posture. So our legs are nice and straight and strong. Knees are bent, nice flexibility. Navel's tucked to the spine, elongating your spine, the back of your neck. Standing up tall. Relaxing the shoulders. Tucking the chin back ever so slightly. Crown of the head reaching to the sky. And then we'll sweep our hands up overhead. Big inhale. And exhale. Bringing the hands down to the mat. And then bringing the hands to the shins. And creating a nice long spine and back of the neck for half forward fold. Sending our gaze straight down. We'll just take the crown of our head and point it toward the mat, letting our hands just relax here, let gravity take over for a few moments. We'll sweep our hands all the way up overhead. And as we bring them up overhead, we're going to come up onto our tippy toes. And just find stillness here. The second I said that, I said, nope, you're not going to. And then bringing our hands down and our heels down. And we'll lift our hands And heels up again. Woo. And then down. And one last time. Lifting the hands and the heels up. Maybe third time I'm charmed. There we go. And then slowly lowering the hands down. We'll bring the hands all the way down to the mat again. Bending the knees as we go. And then half forward fold. Hands to the shin. Nice flat back. Nice straight line with the spine and the neck. And then setting the crown of our head down toward the mat. And sweeping our hands all the way up, overhead. We'll do some supported side stretches. So we'll bring our right hand down to the thigh, sliding it down toward the knee, tipping our torso over to the right. And then inhale up. And then left hand comes down, tipping our torso to the left. And then back up again. Right hand comes down, sliding it down toward the right knee. And then back up again. And one last time on the left side. Left hand comes down, sliding it down toward the knee. And then back up again. Both hands come back down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, bringing our hands to our shins, nice flat back. Sending the crown of our head down toward the mat. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. And then we're going to bring our hands out in front of us at shoulder height. We'll do a few chair poses. Maybe I'll go to the side for that. We're going to keep our navel tucked to the spine. We'll start to lower our hips toward our ankles. And our knees are to stay behind our big toes. So always be able to see your big toes. And then we'll lift up, sending our hands up to the sky. And then back down to shoulder height. And then lowering our hips down toward our ankles. Navel's tucked to the spine. And then back up again. And one last time. Hands coming down, shoulder height. Hips start to lower toward the ankles. Just lowering ever so slightly more. And not keeping up. And then we'll bring our hands all the way down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Hands come to our shins. Nice flat back for half forward fold. And then sending the crown of our head down toward the mat. And sweeping our hands all the way up to the sky. Hands come together. Hands come to heart center. And hands come to the back of the hips. Putting the palms against the back hips. Fingertips pointing down. Navel tucked to the spine. Relaxing the shoulders. Tucking the chin to the chest. We'll just lower the shoulders back to that point of the sweet spot. And listening to your breath. Make any adjustments. It seems a little on the shallow side. And then we'll bring our torso up to mountain pose. Well done. All right, we'll sweep our hands up overhead. Palms come together, palms come to heart center. We're gonna lift the right leg up as it's in chair pose, and then send it back, as far back as you can, and then pivot to the side of the mat, so that you're facing the side of the mat. Your toes are pointing to the corners of the mat, heels are tucked in 45 degrees. We'll sweep our arms up to shoulder height. We're going to do a few eagle arms here. So we can send the right arm below the left arm and bending our knees as we go lower down. And then back up again, sending our arms back to shoulder height. This time we're going to bring the left arm under the right arm, coming into eagle arms and lowering. You do that all one move or two separate moves. And then back up again. Bring the arms back to star shape, again with the right arm underneath the left arm, eagle arms, and then lowering down. And then back up again. And one last time. Bringing the left arm under the right arm, coming into eagle arms and lowering down. And then back up again. Bringing the arms back to shoulder height. We're going to pivot our feet, come into warrior two, of course. And then sending our gaze to our left fingertips. We'll drop our right fingertips down, lifting the left up to the sky for peaceful warrior or reverse warrior. And just holding it a few moments. And then bringing the left arm, forearm down to the left thigh, sweeping the right hand up to the sky, sending our gaze up to the right hand. And then sending the right hand down to the mat, coming into runner's lunge. I'm going to send the left foot back to join the right foot, coming into downward dog. And we'll just walk the dog here for a moment. Bring the left knee to the mat, just back of the left wrist. So bring the knee all the way up to the left wrist and place it down on the mat. And slide your right foot back down to the mat, coming into pigeon pose. We can back our hands up, opening up our chest, opening up our heart. And then bringing our forearms down to the mat, perhaps our head down to the mat. Reclined pigeon pose. And you can use the block here under your left hip if that is helpful to you. And then we'll bring ourselves back up. Pigeon pose, tuck our back toes under, lift our hips up to the sky, coming back to downward dog, and walk our dog out. And then slowly walk our feet up to our hands, coming into forward fold, and then sweeping our hands all the way up to the sky. Palms come together, and palms come down to heart center. And this is where you can use the block if you want. I'm going to place it on the outer side of my right foot and crossing my left leg over, putting the toes on the block, and then sending my left arm under my right arm, coming into eagle arms. So then you can lower your hips down, keeping your toe on the block, or if you want, you can lift your toes off the block. You feel stable. All right, and then you can release. Well done. We'll do that all on the other side. So, back to mountain pose. Big inhale, sweeping our hands up overhead. And hands come together. Hands come down to heart center. And then we're going to lift the left leg up and send it behind us as far back as you can, coming into wide-legged stance. Turn around. And then we'll do a few more eagle arms. So sending your arms up at shoulder height. Cross the right underneath the left, pretzelizing them, and then lowering our hips down to the mat. And back up again. And release. Crossing the left under the right. And then lowering down. And coming back up. Release. Crossing the right under the left. Back to eagle arms. Lowering the hips down. And then back up. And one last time, release. Sending the left arm underneath the right arm. Pretzel arms. Eagle arms. And then lower down. And just stay here for a moment. And then come back up. And then you can release your arms. Pivot your feet to the right. Coming into warrior two. Sending your gaze to your right fingertips. Lower the left arm down. Raising the right arm overhead. Keeping your gaze on your fingers. And then bringing the right forearm down to the right, top of the right thigh. Sweeping the left hand up to the sky. Sending your gaze up to that hand. And then lowering the left hand down to the mat, pivoting into runner's lunge. Then send the right foot back to join the left and walk your dog out for a moment. And then we're going to bring that right knee to the mat, just back of the right wrist for a pigeon pose. Again, you can use your block underneath your right hip if that is helpful, or a blanket, something to support. We'll just walk our hands back just to get that proud pigeon pose going, putting up our heart. And then walk our hands forward, coming down on our forearms and bringing our forehead down to our arms for reclined pigeon. And then bringing our hands underneath. We're going to tuck our back toes under and then come back to downward dog and walk out our dog just a little bit. And then slowly walk our feet up for our hands, coming into forward fold, and then sweeping our hands all the way up. Palms come together overhead, palms come to heart center, and palms come toward the block again. This time the block will be on the outer edge of my left foot. And I'm going to bring my right toes and rest them on it, maybe the ball of the foot. Then we'll bring the right arm underneath. Left arm comes over, coming into pigeon, eagle. Got all sorts of birds going on here. Eagle arms. And then lift off. I'm going to take my foot off the block, bend my knees, lowering my hips down toward my ankles, and come into eagle pose. And release. Well done. All right. So we'll bring our pinky toes to the edges of the mat, tucking the heels in, 45-degree angle. Bring our hands to heart center, Anjali mudra. And then gently lowering ourselves down toward the mat. The arms and the torso come in between the legs. Elbows resting on the inner part of the knees. You can always use a block for this pose too, if you like. And then we'll bring our hips down to the mat. And we'll roll down the mat. Again, knees bent, knees straight. Express method, which I'm going to choose. Roll back. And wrap hands around my knees. Rock back and forth. Just massage that lower back. And if you'd like to take your toes and make big circles, the full moon was this week, flower moon for May. Seems like I'm always saying it's a full moon. Shows you how fast time flies. And counterclockwise if you like. And keeping your knees bent, we're going to take our hands, interlacing the fingers, and bring that little hammock of interlaced fingers behind your head, just right above the neck, maybe resting your thumbs on the sides of your neck. And this is just going to be a hammock. You're not going to be using your arms to pull your head up. You're going to use your chin and your chest like we do with Cobra. So pulling your chin and chest up toward your knees. We're going to send the right elbow to the left knee and send the right leg down toward the end of the mat. You can either rest it at the bottom of the mat or have it covered. And then bring the knee back, come back, but keeping your head up all the time. And again, you're not pulling your head up, you're just resting it on that hand. So then we're going to take the left elbow to the right knee, sending the right leg all the way down. And then back again, keeping our chin and chest up. Right knee to, or right elbow to left knee, extending the right leg. Back, speed it up a little. Left elbow to right knee, extend and back. And then keep going at your own pace. If you like, you could do a number of these and then rest and then come back and do a number again. Maybe do 10 at a time and then rest. I don't know what count I'm at, but I'll rest right now. And then sending your head and your elbows down to the mat, your feet down to the mat. Take a couple deep inhales and exhales. Okay, and then we'll lift the legs up again. Lift our chin and chest up again, and this time I will count. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. We'll do it one more time. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Send your hand out so that your arms are in a T shape. And we'll just lower the knees to the right, setting our gaze to the left fingertips. And then knees come back to center and lower to the left, sending the gaze to the right, looking at the right fingertips. And then bring the gaze back to center, knees back to center, sending the knees and feet down to the mat, sending the feet into each corner, bringing the arms alongside, palms facing up, coming into Shavasana. And take a few deep breaths, inhaling through your nose, and then exhaling through your mouth. And just really settle down into the mat. Think of it as a soft cloud that you're just sinking into. And I have a poem for you, of course. The title of it is It Is Enough by Dana Faulds. It is enough right now to taste one moment of peace. Of course, I want more, but at least the door is open. It is enough to draw a conscious breath and let my hands relax, fingers releasing their tight grasp on things outside of my control. It is enough to shed a layer of stress as if taking off a jacket or a pair of too tight shoes. Ease of being has to start somewhere. This breath is my first step.